Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Vault of Cult with your host Chris and...
Mark, you
Hi
alright?
Mark. Hi Mark.
Are you alright?
Yeah, mon frere extraordinaire. I'm good. I hope the listeners are good out there.
They will be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us guys on another episode. Get interactive with the socials. Get us on Instagram at The Vault of Cult. Get us on the Gmail at thevaultofcult@gmail.com.
Yeah, give us your interactions, give us your thoughts.
Yeah,
Tell us, do you
feedback.
like the film that we've been on about? Do you not like the film we've been on about?
We want a bit of interaction with you guys out there.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. We're begging now.
Yeah, actually begging, yeah.
We're actually begging. So on this week's episode, we will be discussing
Goodfellas.
the 1990 film Goodfellas.
Yes.
The
no less.
No less. Highly regarded, mafia classic.
Yeah, exactly. So, shall we get on with it?
Let's. So, Mark, Goodfellas from 1990. Give us some box office information.
So, as you said, Goodfellas came out September 1990. It initially came out early September with limited release at the Venice Film Festival.
Nice.
That's
prestige.
not Venice. That's not Venice in Italy, everybody. That's
where is that with Venice?
That's Venice in San Francisco. No, not San Francisco, near Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Venice Beach and...
California.
Yeah. It's very much in that world. Prestige film festivals.
Yeah,
where all the film tops, everything we want to be, the sort of people that we would love to be one day. Oh, do you want to come to the Venice Film Festival?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah.
See all these interesting films by these interesting directors.
Yeah. So it came out... basically limited release for that, and then in late September that year came out in wide release. And so its box office. So firstly, its budget. It had a budget of 25 million USD. Modest. Well, modest now, although I will point out that at the time it was the director's most expensive film that he had made at that time.
Because he's obviously, up until that point, he doesn't do special effects films. It was everything was very drama-y, human dramas. Yeah. And so it's 146 minutes long, so 2 hours 45 minutes. No, 220 that. What, 145?
Yeah, 146. 2:45.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2:45.
2:45.
Yeah.
So nearly 3 hours.
Nearly 3 hours long, and we'll get into
length.
What we think about that as we go through. But yeah, it's getting up there for me. I think the question in this is, does it warrant its 3 hours?
Okay.
And we will discuss soon. We'll discuss soon. I didn't tell you how much it made.
How much did it make, Mark?
It made 47 million. Which, to be honest, looking at that nowadays, that's not right good.
No.
It's not.
Almost.
It's not special. It's not special.
And I wonder why. I wonder why that was.
I don't know. You see, I had the gods fucking get the devil's own task, even trying to parse out what it made internationally and what it made domestically, and I can't figure it out.
Do you know what?
I figure it's maybe something to do with that shall we say Hollywood's shady accounting practices, meaning maybe in some areas it made more. What film was that?
Oh, Die Hard.
Die Hard
had it's between this and this, and you're like, well, what was it? Was it that or that?
Yeah. No, I know exactly.
So not great in terms of...
Not great.
It didn't even double its budget.
I'm sure Warner Brothers were looking at it as if to go,
Yeah.
all right, it's made a few quid. But, we'll come on to discuss it later. It might not have made much money then, but in terms of staying power...
Up there.
Massively up there. Staying power. So yeah, who did it? Who were in it? Who did what?
Who did the do for?
Yeah, who did the do?
So it was directed by Martin Scorsese, obviously a very famous film director. Mm-hmm. Directed Raging Bull, Casino, Wolf of Wall Street, all really good, kind of interesting films.
There is a theme with these films. That he likes a gangstery crime.
I mean, he did an Aviator as well, which is,
well,
you know,
like
biographies and interesting.
But, yeah.
He likes an examination.
Yes, exactly. He does like an examination of a topic.
Yeah, and that's why he's one of the best.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Produced by Irving Winkler, who produced Raging Bull and some of the Rockies.
It's got a number of Rockies. A smattering of Rockies.
Smattering of Rockies. Written by a guy called Nicholas Pileggia. Now, he wrote a book called Wise Guy, which was based on a guy called Henry Hill. And this is obviously, again, it's an examination of his life and his perspective of growing up in that environment. And obviously Martin Scorsese dabbled in the writing, the screenplay as well. Obviously, he knew what it took to get to the screen.
As far as I understood, he was pretty heavily involved with the screenplay process.
Yeah, it was a bit of a passion project because obviously he's Italian himself and he's that heritage.
With a name like Scorsese.
Yeah. And again, that's a theme in his films, Italians, have you noticed?
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to say. He does like the examination of his own culture, Italian-American
100%.
type.
Also, as well, an interesting thing that the music, there isn't any score, it's all actual songs that's used.
Well, yeah, and I thought the score were really interesting. Because, like I think I mentioned to you before, there's a thing about the music that I definitely noticed. Until about halfway through the film, I'm going to drop a big word.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, listeners.
Right. Halfway for here's your term. Here's your film history term.
Come on.
All the music until about three-quarters of way through the film are what you call diegetic pieces of music, and that means they take place in the world of the story.
Yes.
All of the music is coming from like a car radio or a jukebox, or there's someone singing. It's not just a track singing over the song or under the dialogue or whatever. It's not a soundtrack. It's not a score. No, it's not a soundtrack. It's just the music that's in it. Yeah. But I did think it were curious about, for the last third of the film, they stopped doing that and they just had music playing. And I thought that was weird. Not bad. Weird. It was like, why would you start doing a thing and then stop doing a thing? Or maybe I just stopped immediately noticing the things that the music was emanating from. Where it was emanating from. I mean, maybe like they're in a car or something and it could be construed as the car radio.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Definitely early on, there's a scene in the film where they're at a party and the girls are showing each other around their new places.
On the side.
And she goes into one room and the music sort of like muffles as it goes, like when you're behind a wall from where the actual music is, you can still hear it. And I was like, clever. The music actually exists in the world. Yeah. It's not. So it doesn't surprise me that there wasn't an actual soundtrack to it. There was a choice. It was only when you told me that where I was like, I see. That's why. Because I couldn't find anywhere of like Goodfellas soundtrack. Nothing. No.
Other than actual real songs.
Real songs.
Right. Yeah. So getting on to the main cast. So Henry Hill, who's our obviously main character, is played by Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta's been in Field of Dreams. He was in Hannibal.
He were in Hannibal, fucking smarmy bastard in Hannibal.
Really memorable character in that, and he gets fed his own brains.
He eats his own brain, not good like he wants to.
He liked it.
Yeah, he actually liked it. Was that nice? Yeah.
He's absolutely smacks off his tits, though, innit?
Yeah.
High as a kite.
But yeah, good actor is Ray Liotta.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of he's a lot quieter than he used to be.
It's got a very distinct face.
Yeah.
Really
his eyes as well.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the rest of the cast. So Robert De Niro plays Jimmy Conway. Obviously, everyone knows Robert De Niro. Taxi Driver, Godfathers, Raging Bulls, Casino. And then obviously we move on to Joe Pesci, who plays Tommy. He's in Casino, Home Alone, memorable in Home Alone, great in Home Alone.
I love him in Home Alone. He's my favourite character in Home Alone. I love that.
He's really good. And he shows a lot of timing and comedy chops.
Yeah.
Which isn't he was in My Cousin Vinny as well, which is another really comic that plays up to him.
When growing up, that's what I would have known Joe Pesci.
From My Cousin Vinny?
No, from
Home Alone.
And, so I always sort of viewed him as a comedic actor. And then,
Lethal Weapon?
Yeah. And then you see him in this and you're like, totally different. But I have to say, right here, top of the shop when we're just talking about it, Joe Pesci, wow.
Stand up.
Wow. He is the standout.
Oh, man.
One of the standout characters.
And not getting ahead of anything or, getting too deep too soon. But
because they expect a slow burn.
No, of course. Yeah, they know what they're getting with
these lads never give out away.
Yeah, listeners, if I'm sure you're not surprised by things on the show these days, by now anyway. But, Joe Pesci, mate, I think for me, it's up there with one of the finest screen performances.
It genuinely is fantastic. You're seeing an actor at work at the top of his game with a part that would made for him. It's almost like it was made for him. That's it. And he's working well with it, and
he is amazing in it. That is an actor acting, and giving a performance at a level that you don't really see a lot of.
Well, no,
in the last 60 years
you
of cinema.
You see someone playing a part well, and you can go, "Oh, he was good in it." Yeah. But there's then
he is that character.
Tier. He is that.
Yeah.
He absolutely is that. He embodies it.
He's like, he's everyone's mate, but he'll slit your throat in a heartbeat.
Well, I've lots to say about the character of Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
Lorraine
Bracco as well played Karen Hill.
I'd never seen her before in anything.
No, I mean, fully enough as well, here's a weird connection. She ended up in Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a legacy, isn't it?
Well,
really.
We'll...
I mean, again...
We say this every time on the show.
Again, we'll come on to it.
But Ron, we're saving it for Ron.
For Ron, but let's also talk about it now.
Let's.
That's the thing. That's very much, I think, a spiritual successor
very much so.
To this in particular.
A show I haven't dabbled with ever.
I've dabbled, I've played, I've splashed, I've what, but I haven't dove. Yeah, I've gone. Oh, it's a bit cold. Oh, it's a bit cold. Bit cold. Might go in later, and I've just never properly gone in. But I've dabbled, and that body of water is always there for me to go back to.
Oh yeah.
But it's always remembered as one of the tippy top.
Proper... I think it was one of those shows that really cemented HBO as a very good storytelling.
Well, it's there. I don't know whether it was the first, but it was there.
It was Sex and the City then, that.
I know, but Sex and the City is a much more serialised kind of.
But again, the level of production and writing and. They was noted that was the place to watch high quality production on TV. Yeah. So they're kind of another kind of final character of note in the film. Paul Sorvino, who plays Paula.
Again, another gentleman. I've never seen him in anything.
Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I have seen him in Romeo and Juliet. I tell a lie. He plays the Capulet. Yes, Juliet's dad. Yeah.
He's in loads of things.
I really like that. Romeo and
Baz
Juliet.
Luhrmann, yeah,
Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I have time for that. I did an essay about it at school. We had to.
Is it Claire Danes and DiCaprio?
It is Claire Danes.
Right, okay. Yeah. I know John Leguizamo's in that as well. He's got a nice tash in that.
He does have a nice
and he's got nice guns as well. I remember having nice guns.
Yeah.
I don't mean his arms, I mean actual guns that shoot.
It were a really good thing. I mean, to be honest...
A very MTV version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, but I like that they really updated it, set it in California, but they didn't update the language at all. I'm like, that's clever. Clever. Anyway, it's not about Romeo and Juliet. Maybe for Ron, but
not now.
Not now.
So, give us some interesting facts about the film, Mark.
Well, considering how well regarded this film is, because we're the vault of cult, and I think it's fair to say that this fits the bill
100%.
Properly fits the bill of cult following, and one that also has a mainstream following as well, like
awards and recognitions.
Exactly. Well, this is what I want to talk about, because I was surprised by the nominations at the 1991 Academy Awards, because I thought that this would have done better than it did at those awards. Right. It was nominated for, I'll give you all the nominations. It was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Naturally. Best Director, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay.
Go on.
Best Editing, and Best Supporting Actor.
Okay.
So it was nominated for quite a few things, but it only won one. Only won one, and that's for Best Supporting Actor, and that is Joe Pesci. And as we've already discussed, 100% deserved that. But what I thought was more interesting than that is what did win instead of it, because except Best Supporting Actress, the Lorraine Bracco were nominated for Best Supporting Actress, which I can see she does really well. Yeah. She's good in the film, but she was beat out by Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, here we
go. Ghost. As we said at the time, she 100% deserved that. So putting supporting actress.
By the way, guys, go ahead if you've not. Go and listen to our episode.
Yeah, listen to it on Ghost. If you would like to know more about Whoopi Goldberg's character in the film Ghost,
go and listen to our podcast.
We have a podcast about it that you might want to partake in.
But please listen to this one.
But finish this one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, finish this one.
Yeah,
then go back.
Yeah. One at a time, please.
But all the rest of them: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay. Best Screenplay, that's an adaptation.
Yes.
It's split. And Best Editing were all won by Dances with Wolves, which is Kevin Costner film. Right. Which is... It was very well regarded back then, and I think a lot of people loved it, but nowadays it's yikes. All I'm going to say.
No one watches that film these days.
No one watches that film. See, it was racist. Sorry, but
let's just say
we'll say it how it is. It's racist. The heroic white man goes and lives with the noble savages for a while. That's what happens. And he saves them from
themselves.
Oh no. Can you imagine nowadays if that film come out nowadays?
They wouldn't even make it. They wouldn't.
Well, they wouldn't even make it, but if they did, someone's getting lynched. Never mind them getting sacked, they'd be getting lynched.
Yeah. Mississippi style.
Yeah. I have watched Dances. I'm a sucker for an historical drama.
Yes.
I do love an historical drama.
It is your topic of choice.
But not that one.
No, not that one. No.
Shh. Put it away. But back then, loved it. Wanked over it, did everybody. absolutely loving it. So I thought that was interesting, considering the legacy that this film has.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that at the time it were, and coupled with its box office, people were meh.
Yeah.
Meh. About it. Don't you think that's vaguely fascinating?
Plus, as well, I think maybe what happened is in the late 80s, very, very. This is 90, so this would have come out on video probably arse end of 91, halfway through 92, and again, video shops still existed, and do you know what I mean? I think it was one of those films that found, again, a lot of cult films seem to not make that much money, but the longevity in terms of following and support starts with a lot of the films from the time, like these rentals and
yeah, exactly. So just a few fun facts. It was when De Niro agreed to play the part that got Scorsese the money he needed.
Well,
to play it.
Oh, he's in it. How much do you want?
He's in it. Yeah. Executives at Warner Brothers were like, not sure I like this. Oh, it's a bit dark. Oh, it's a bit worrying this. I don't know.
Right.
De Niro's in it. 100%. There's your 25 mil. Have you got that checkbook? Have you got it?
Oh, it's wet, that. It's wet, that check.
Scorsese's
It's wet.
Here. It says De Niro's in it.
How much?
No, we're not. Don't tell him. We're giving more than 10 million. It's fucking Robert De Niro. It's Robert De Niro.
Oh, we've got Bobby on board.
Yeah.
B.O.B. Bobby on board.
But at first, before they got De Niro, they wanted Al Pacino. The studio was saying Al Pacino.
Okay, fair enough.
John Malkovich.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Different film. Different film.
Wow. Very different.
Let me just say, I'd watch that. I would watch that film.
Ooh.
But different film.
Not
and I'd watch it
is.
for a different reason.
I'm glad that version does not exist.
Play Jimmy's part. They also wanted either Sean Penn or Alec Baldwin or Val Kilmer to play for Henry Hill's part.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think maybe Alec Baldwin could play it. Maybe Val Kilmer, because he's got the same weird face.
I think maybe Sean Penn could pull it off.
Yeah, Sean Penn could maybe get... and Madonna were considered for Karen.
Ugh.
Well, it was very much that time. Can you remember when we were talking about
In
Ghost?
Bed with Madonna, yeah.
Can you remember when we were talking about Ghost and they wanted Tina Turner to play Whoopi Goldberg's part? It was very much that time that let's get a big singer to do one of these things. You know, it's the whole... Cher actually did quite all right when she were in... What were it, Mermaids?
She's in a few, Cher.
Oh, yeah. They're actually surprisingly good actresses, Cher. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
But that's a diversion. But yeah, as I say, it was Scorsese's most expensive film to date at that point. I would imagine he's long since made that back. You know what I mean? He's got bigger. He's had bigger budgets than
100%.
What is now a very, very modest $25 million.
I know. I think at the time it held a record of the uses of fuck in a film.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, you can say that. You know, if you don't like foul language, then
don't watch this if you don't like foul language. But then again, if they don't like foul language, like for what fucking reason are they listening to our podcast?
This is explicit true. Fucking language, you motherfuckers.
Exactly. Could you imagine? You get your nan's clutching her pills. Oh, they don't half swear.
Your nan won't like it.
Your nan won't like it.
She won't even seen what we're talking about.
Yeah, your nana won't like this film.
No, we don't do nana films.
No.
We might do.
Well, we might do one day. You never know. But I just want to quickly point out, while we're just doing facts, the critical reception, although I have to say the Academy and the public's reaction was muted, the critical reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Hugely positive at the time. Like, I know I often bring him up as a form of negative, but the big at the time were they get Ebert and Siskel at the time. Big at the time, I know, but he went. Roger Ebert said, "No finer film has been made about organised crime."
100%.
Well, what the fuck does he know? Here's this sentence. I agree with him entirely. So maybe he knows me.
He is correct. On this occasion.
Yes.
He's correct.
But yeah, well, those are your fun facts to have fun with. Yeah, interesting. Some interesting stuff.
Right, so let's tell you what, let's use that as our starting point then. Let's use...
Yeah, they've got audiences there, like, what do you mean, starting point with 20 minutes in?
Not only an hour! You know? No, I mean, let's use that starting point in terms of, let's discuss the film.
Yeah. Yeah, so on this occasion, because, you know, I talked a lot there, normally you go, so Mark! And make
like
me
that,
go,
just like that.
Just like that. Right. So Mark. So Chris, what were your thoughts?
Right, so I think you know, I'm just not getting ahead of myself, but let's start backwards as we mean to go forwards. Do you like that?
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Oh, God. I really need to get new seats if we're going to be doing this at my place.
Why is that one squeaky next to you?
No, but
change.
I can't.
Do it!
Oh!
Just do it now. Change. Come on, change.
All right.
And then this
change is good.
Listen, you just sort it, please.
Right, there you are. Sorry, my squeaky chair got on my nerves.
Oh, you've actually moved places, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Right, so I'm going to agree with his statement there.
Oh, Mr. Ebert. Yeah. The gentleman Ebert.
Yeah, and and that's even going up against Godfather 1 and 2.
You're starting right at the top then. 100%. High bar. What was the quote again? I just said it and I've immediately forgot the quote. No finer film has been made about organised crime.
100%.
Full stop. It wasn't in recent years.
That's all she wrote?
Yeah. Maybe that's it, because he used to have a TV programme, did Roger Ebert. Yeah, maybe that's it. He just went, best one there's ever been. Credits.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ebert.
Yeah. That's it.
All right,
what more do you want me to say?
Just looked at
no
screen
more
and
words
went,
needed.
What?
Yeah.
Done.
Said it.
So you will very much agree.
Yeah. I think it's a masterpiece, this film.
A masterpiece?
I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's so cinematic. I think it's everything that cinema... It represents for me. It's a film that represents a lot of what cinema means to me, and I think what cinema means in general, in terms of entertainment, drawing you into the story, the way it's shot. It's, like Mark said about the music, I feel it's very naturalistic.
It is a very naturalistic film. It's very... I want to say, I mean, the word is overused, but grounded. The word is overused, and I think sometimes people think that means it's a synonym for boring. It's not that.
No,
it's not boring. When we say grounded, we mean it is set in a world that we can believe fully exists. I mean, it's loosely based on a true story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely got that about it.
I also think that Scorsese hit a peak. I don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Scorsese, and again, I'm really big fan of Wolf of Wall Street, a very more recent one of his films. A big fan of Aviator, which is based on the life of Howard Hughes, the mad inventor, the recluse guy.
Well, I'm gonna be a bad film buff.
Go.
Yeah. Now, I haven't watched that many Scorsese films. I was saying that to you, and you looked at me as if to go, well, what am I doing the podcast with you then for? But, I really haven't seen that many. As I say, I've only ever really, really seen... I may have seen others in various degrees of consciousness, shall we say.
Okay.
But the only ones I can properly remember seeing are... Wolf of Wall Street, which I'm... okay, all right, I'll allow that.
I really rate it.
I really like the characters in that.
Yeah, you said this to me.
We'll put that to one side, but you're not supposed to. I get it. And I've seen The Aviator. I don't remember a lot of it, but I've seen Aviator.
And again, another DiCaprio rating it.
I'm not going to lie, that's about it. And I'm going to be a bit heretical again. Before we were doing this show, I'd never seen Goodfellas.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
And I suppose you've never seen Casino, then the kind of spiritual...
No.
It's not a sequel, because it's a different story.
Joe Pesci's in that one as well.
Vegas, Again, it's about the mob running the casino
scenes
in Las Vegas.
I don't know why I haven't watched
Sharon
that,
Stone's
because I read a really good history book about how
Casino's a great film. It's not as tippy-toppy as this, but it's still a fantastic film, Casino.
Yeah.
It's just, you're comparing the two, and Goodfellas is...
Right.
Goodfellas.
So I think we've established that you liked it very, 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 100%. Very much.
And it's one of my favourite... I think it's one of my favourite films, and it's a film I can watch.
My take on this film... Well, as I was saying, this is the first time I watched it for this podcast.
And I'm super interested in...
I'm fascinated by it, and there's a lot that I really, 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 really like about it.
Okay.
For one thing, the entire cast are there. A game,
100.
top of the shot. I mean, Joe Pesci is in another fucking stratosphere.
Yeah.
But everyone's top of their
100%.
game. A game.
There isn't a flaw. Every performance from me, it's spot on. Every character in it is great.
Even your forgettable ones.
Yeah.
Even your walk-on parts. I mean,
the guy who owns the club that they burned down.
Yeah, exactly.
Another great little character.
Just... It's full of really good character moments all the way through. Everyone's done the research. I don't know whether all of them are from New York or Chicago or wherever it is. New York, I think.
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah,
we'll say New York.
Yeah.
But I feel like all the actors did their research. What did they say? What did Italian mobsters sound like? Mobsters? Who am I? From a fucking Looney Tunes. Gangsters.
Gangsters, yeah.
Sound like in the well, it's basically the 40s, 50s and 60s, 70s and 80s, isn't it? Because it starts when he's a kid. When you know what I mean. So that'll start in the 40s, really, and they've properly done the research about the whole thing, and I appreciate that. I like how it's edited. I like how the story flows. I've got something else to say about the story, but generally how it flows. I love the narration. I loved
him narrating
the story. I thought that was magnificent. Actually, really,
the
really
freeze frame
well
as
done.
well, with the blowing up the cars at the beginning. Great iconic scene.
What did I say at the time? He walks you through the film constantly. It's almost like Henry Hill. He's holding your hand all the way through
then
the
this
film.
Happened, and then because that happened, and this happened.
And I like that part of that. Right, I really do. I like the aesthetic of the film, and I like the score, such as it is, the soundtrack.
There's a particular shot as well. Sorry to interject there, mate. There's a particular shot, where he takes her on a date, and the tracking shot from outside.
Yes, so we're going to bring that up.
One of the best camera moves ever. It took him eight takes to do it. All in one year. 8 takes it took him to do it.
Wow.
But that is one of the best tracking shots.
Yeah.
Because you're drawing into the... long take. Because they come out, they literally across the street, straight down into the back door, all through the kitchens, and he's meeting all the fucking waiters, and he's up and down, and they're in and out, and then he finally just opened this door, and he's like, gets a table right at the front of this mad scene, and that's what, for me... Wow.
I think with scenes like that, it shows their world.
Exactly.
It shows their world brilliantly, because it's our world, but it's sort of once removed from our world.
It's of a time and a place and certain type of characters that... And he manages to make everything fascinating.
It shows you exactly what it's like to be actually inculcated and a member of these...
Because it's the film is through Henry's
Italian
eyes.
Mob families,
100%.
essentially. I've put down here, it shows the camaraderie really well. It shows the friendship, shows the glamour.
Well, the first 20 minutes, he's setting it all up.
Yeah.
The characters, the first 20 minutes.
But I also have to say, it doesn't shy away from showing the brutality of it. Brutal film. Brutal film.
Yeah,
I genuinely, not because I'm scared of a bit of blood and gore or anything, but genuinely sat with my hand over my mouth. At several points, I was like, "Oh my god." Oh my god. I tell you what, the first bit that made me properly wince, and he don't even kill him, when his girlfriend gets fumbled by the neighbour, and he gets the gun. He don't shoot him with the gun. He batters him in the face, and you could hear it. You can hear it battering,
and you see him smacking him in his eye,
smacking him in his eye, and I was like, "Oh god!"
Yeah.
Oh god!
And you see the blood getting bloodier and bloodier on his face.
Yeah. I've literally written on my notes, "Fuck when he twats that guy with the gun."
Yeah.
That's literally what I wrote. Fuck when he twats the guy with the gun.
Plus, as well, that's brutal. A really good character moment, because then his missus knows then.
Yeah.
She's like, I've turned a blind eye here, but now I'm involved. And even Karen narrates, and she says, I took the gun and I just did what he asked me to do. She's I loved him, and that's what
she's the only one who ever very occasionally takes over the narrative. Occasionally she's there to interject. I thought that were interesting, but what else my big feeling about it? These people are genuinely charismatic but terrifying. They have an aura of terror about them, particularly Joe Pesci's character.
And you can believe there was characters, an abundance of characters, at that time.
like that.
Like that.
Like Joe Pesci's character, honestly, he's terrifying how he could turn just suddenly. He'd be laughing and joking with you.
Make the funny
and
how.
And he will funny how. And you're like, shit, he's turned.
And he's like straight, and he's asking him, he's like, no, he's a grown man. He's just said I'm funny, and I'm asking him, and everyone just goes, fucking hell, hang on a minute. The whole club turns round.
Everyone's like,
and he's going, funny how? No, I'm asking you, what do you mean? He's like, funny you tell funny stories like a clown. I amuse you.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he actually pulls his gun out on him, and he's like, I'll fucking get, and he's like, oh, all right, I'll fuck up. But for that split second, you're like,
he's dangerous and properly.
You don't know if he's joking or not, mate, and that is a dangerous place to be.
Because also, like when he kills that young lad, Spider,
but he shoots him in the foot first.
He does,
and then when he goes back and he's bandaged up, he fucking kills him.
I know.
Shoots him about 5 times in the chest, bang,
for no reason. And everyone else is there like, whoa, what the fuck? Like Jimmy Robert De Niro's character,
he's like, you don't have to kill him, fucking hell.
I mean, he's fucking deadly as well. Jimmy's character. Well, but here's the
Jimmy
thing.
the Gent, that's what they call him. He's like, I'm your mate, but I'll do whatever it takes.
All of them have an underlying menace about them.
Yeah.
But totally different. But Jimmy's is not Jimmy, Tommy.
Yeah.
It's an almost in-your-face menace.
Yeah.
But Jimmy's is come with me
kind
of menace. You know what I mean? It's a very
he does that to Karen, doesn't he?
It's
later on in the film when he's in prison and she's like, I need your help, and he's like, see down there and that, and it's on the left, and she's like, where? And he's like, go down that alley, and then it's in there, and she walks down and there's like these 2 fucking dodgy geezers in there, and she's like, I'm gonna get fucking raped here. I'm getting off.
Yeah.
Like you say, he's your mate, but he'll fucking do it.
It's all fun and games.
But I think Ray Liotta's character, Henry, he gets involved with it, but you never see him kill anyone.
Well, no, you don't.
Or seriously injure anyone apart from that guy who
apart from the guy with fucking leathers.
He doesn't shoot his gun. Have you noticed that?
No,
did you never notice that?
Yeah, I did.
You don't actually see him hurt anyone apart from that guy because he's defending his missus, not because he's going out of his way to prove a point to someone.
Yeah.
Interesting bit of characterisation.
But here's the thing. That's what's so interesting about Henry's character, is that he's a lord to the life, he's a lord to the glamour of it, he's a lord to you can get wet, you can have anything you want. It's just knowing people and it's talking to people, but you can tell he's in a way uncomfortable with the.
Well, especially later on when he starts selling drugs, and and obviously they were like, sell drugs and I'll cut you fucking off.
Yeah,
dirty. A bit of fucking dodgy ciggies and fucking liquor and all that, but drugs. And that's obviously at the point where cocaine become really popular in America and it was easy money, and he chose to still sell drugs behind the back anyway, and that's how it all fucks up for him.
Yeah.
In the end.
And I thought it was really good watching through the narration and through his acting, Henry's character sort of unravel a bit as everything just kind of gets away from him a little bit.
I think it's fucking super interesting that he survived it for a kick-off, because eventually he gets fucking pinched, Jimmy, and then he gets fucking murdered. They go, oh, we're gonna fucking make you. And because he killed that guy in the bar and he killed a made man, and he was involved, shitting themselves from then on.
To when Tommy's killed.
Then Tommy, they go, come in here, Tommy, bang, gone.
Right. I'm going to give you my first criticism.
Go on.
Of Tommy's death scene.
Go on.
Bit anticlimactic.
Because you don't see it coming.
Just a bit. Oh, that one may respond. Oh, all right. Then. Just a bit. Oh.
But I think that's kind of keeping him with a naturalistic tone of the film. That's what happened, guys. We're here, and then gone.
Yeah.
And you've got to move on. That's it.
I get it. I do get it. But I'm not going to pretend like my first reaction went, oh,
okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Not a disparaging it, but a kind of, oh, all right then.
Oh, so that's how he ends up.
Oh, so he just goes like that.
Yeah.
Although it does immediately pick up with the phone call.
Yeah, then they find
out about it.
Because they're waiting to see, are you all right? Is everything all right? And he just goes, he's gone.
He's gone.
And he's like, they fucking killed him.
You know what I mean? It picked up for me again then, but like for a moment I was just like, I feel like that could have done with a bit more build up, but okay, all right, you did what you did, and now with you saying that was what they were going for, I can see that.
I think so, because
I can see that, but I feel like a lot of people's other deaths, less important people's deaths, got a bit more of rigmarole, a bit more build-up than one of our main people.
I think as well with the structure of the film, I think if you look at it, I think each preceding part of the story happens because of the...
Right, here's the thing about the story, right.
It self-perpetuates, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but... Right, there's a thing...
Or propels, should I say. Self-propels.
The story, to me, it's not something that is immediately appealing to me. Now, I don't mean what happens in it.
No, there's
I mean, yeah, but not even just that. Now, I am going to say something, and you're going to be like, "What?" The story, the actual plot, the screenplay of it, I found at times a little ambling and a touch aimless, because what I mean by that is, it's showing a life. There isn't much in the way of plot. It's showing you events as they unfold.
Yeah. This is
and
what
so
really does
I found the plot a little... Now, I'm a big fan of a tight little 3-act.
Yeah.
I really, really love that.
Hey, me too.
So, but this is a totally different kettle of fish, is that. It's just showing you sort of what it's like over several decades to be part of that world. Now, that's very different for me, because normally films that I like have a very noticeable 3-act arc.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you mean now.
I don't think this is like that. And at times, I found it a little bit ambling. I was like, okay, get on with it. Like, what's going to be the big moment? And there isn't really a big moment. There's a series of a lot of moments that just sort of chug the narrative forward. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's sort of...
But this is what I'm saying. I recognise that is the way...
I get that. But I can see why someone... Possibly...
So then that's a screenplay plotting issue.
Yeah, but for me, that sort of thing does put me off. But that's a personal thing of what I like in a film. Like, of that kind of structure, and this is not that kind of structure. It's it's a slice of life, a crazy gangster's life, but it's a slice of life. It's not a story where
there's a beginning, middle, and
middle,
because it's
and
obviously there's no end, because it can. There's still story to tell after when he gets out, and he becomes basically at the end he becomes an informant.
Yeah,
on the whole gang.
It's not that, and so often I don't know whether it's me now looking back at a film made a long while ago, where we've become so used to a not necessarily tight, but a noticeable 3-act structure in that way, that I'm maybe judging it a little harshly, but I can see that that's not what it is, and it bugs me a little bit. Okay. But I don't think it was ever trying to be that beginning, middle, and end story.
Because it's one of the films where it drops you in a moment in time, and then you're on that ride until it goes, right, we're going to get off at this point. Again, it's not like a film where Henry Hill, like, he eventually dies, or do you know what I mean? There's no finality to it, so it's...
He has no arc. He has no protagonist.
He's just living these events.
It's just what's happened to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that's an arc in and of itself, but he has no narrative arc. He never comes full circle. The only thing he learns is that maybe he shouldn't have been in... Well, he doesn't even think that.
He enjoyed it.
He enjoyed it. He's just telling you what happened. And I think that's to its benefit, but if you're going into it looking for a character arc and a something like that, that's not what this film is. Do you know what I mean? It's not a tight little story. It's showing you events, how they could have or did happen. Do you see what I'm trying to pull out there? And I think it's not a criticism, it's just if it's not really your cup of tea, you will notice that.
It's an interesting point. Yeah, no, it's because I see it.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Yeah,
it may be a slightly different perspective, but we're on the same page in terms of that's the type of film. It isn't a three structure act film.
It might have 3 acts. I don't know. I haven't sat and sort of like passed out. That's your end of Act 1, but. It doesn't seem to be. It's not a narrative. It has a narrative flow, but it doesn't have peaks and troughs. It's just it chugs along, showing you. And I find that interesting. Maybe people who were looking at like Dances with Wolves for all of its now problems is very much it has an arc. You know what I mean? It's a much more traditional story.
Yeah,
maybe that's why it did so well back then. But now, as you get further away from it, the novelty of this piece of slice of life, of a gangster's life, is much more appealing because it is novel. It's interesting and it's different.
And I think, like you say, because of the quality of the cast. The performances,
the quality of makes it. This is a character piece.
100%.
It's almost the definition of a character piece in that it's just character interactions with, like, it's almost like what was the problem that they needed to solve or deal with that month or that year, and then it's almost like and they move on to the next thing. Do you know what I mean? And so it's more a character piece, character interaction, especially between those 3 main leads.
I mean, interesting scenes. The
very
prison.
Interesting scene. Yeah, very.
When they're in prison and you see the life.
How they've essentially took over the place. They've wired the place.
And again, it dabbles in actual factual history of the Lufthansa heist. Lufthansa heist. And for me as well, I know you saying you thought that where the whole lead up to Tommy getting whacked, but I think that I like it for the fact that you're not so keen on that build up because it is very naturalistic and because that's just what happened. 1 minute you could be top of the world and we're going to make you and bang your bullet in your head and they've moved on and tomorrow's tomorrow. It was that. Life meant like that little 2 people. It's
my total bias of what I like in a film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of what I'm just naturally drawn to is not this. That's not. I suppose I prefaced it as a criticism. I suppose it's not a criticism. It's more sort of that part of it might have just passed me by.
I mean, when you said you hadn't seen it, Noah, let's go back to the Warrior scenario where it's a film you hadn't seen and you was watching it specifically for the show. For you listeners out there.
Oh yeah, we have another show about the Warriors earlier on this series. Now let's.
Yeah, we're self-promoting now, but fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
We love it anyway. So, and I was so glad that, when you watched it, and I was really, really interested to hear your opinions and your thoughts. And when you loved it, I
loved it. I absolutely adored the Warriors. It immediately shot up to being maybe one of my favourite films.
And that makes me
what a wonderful, crazy little
brilliant.
But if you think about it, and I don't just mean aesthetics, although they are both about gangs, totally different type of gangs.
Yeah.
One aren't real gangs, and the other one
will murder you.
Yeah. That's this film, Goodfellas, and what gangs are really like.
Yeah.
That's what people who like fantasy films think gangs are like. Because I'm a big sucker for a fantasy film where it's an adventure and a narrative, and so you know this about me.
I do.
And this isn't that.
And I was surprised because I really wanted you to love this film like me, to go, Chrissy, I think it's a masterpiece. I really
like it.
And when you was like, oh, hang on a minute, let's put the brakes on, and I was like, now I am curious to get your thoughts.
I said to you, you're not going to have that Warriors moment.
You did.
With me.
You did. You pre-warned.
Yeah, I said you're not going to have that Warriors moment.
Okay.
Oh well, I'm sorry, but I'd rather deflated you than right here on. Can you imagine? Right here on camera, Chris's bubbles popped.
You'll actually see my heart break a little bit.
I do really like this film.
Okay, that's okay.
I can't quite go, it's a masterpiece. And I know I'd be pushing against the wind saying it's not a masterpiece, because I think pretty much everyone who likes films...
You've got valid points to back up your opinion.
Yeah, I just think while I fully appreciate it, it might not be my cup of tea. It's a nice cup of tea. But it might not be mine. Is this my cup? It's not my cup in this cup of tea.
Oh, okay.
But I really like it, and I really appreciate it as a film.
That's good enough.
And you've got to be aware of the mastery and the artistry that's at work in terms of sheer filmmaking here. They get brilliantly edited, brilliantly shot, well done, interesting way of tackling the music. That's got to be up there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. You know, and again, like you say, you know, we wouldn't be doing this show if we was here and we just agreed on everything all the time.
Well, no.
And again, you know, when I was even more curious when he was like, well, you know, I do have thoughts about it. Then straight away I was like, right, again, this isn't the Warriors, where straight away you just went, oh, Chris, what was that you told me to watch? And it's just like blown me away.
Wonderful.
But I get it. I get your reasons for not having a Warriors moment.
Yeah, I haven't taken to this film in the same way that I did with that.
And again, you know, you back it up, mate. You do back up what you're saying. So should we
wrap up?
Should we do some verdicts?
Yeah, go on.
No, you go first.
All right, because I think I were ambling onto that anyway.
A little bit, yeah. That's why I've moved on.
Okay, well, I wasn't ambling.
No, we don't amble on this show.
I was already there at the end.
Yeah.
I did really like it, and I appreciate it, and I also respect it. I didn't just appreciate it. I was like,
100% fair.
Gotta respect this. Yeah. And I did enjoy it as well. It weren't just like in a godly way, looking down on it, like, yes, what wonderful things, but I'm not interested. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time there. Do I think I will revisit it all the time? No, because it's not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, you've done now. You're happy.
I've done, and I've watched a great piece of cinema, and it is genuinely wonderful.
It is.
So, right, I was havering for a while, right, as to whether, because at first when I were thinking about all the plot just wandering about kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. I was thinking about giving it a 7, and I was like, that's not fair.
Ooh.
And I was like, that's not fair.
We've given lesser films more.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking, now if 10's tippy top, and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever give a 10 to a thing, because that to me is like, it's a perfect film. And I can't in good conscience say that about it. A 9 seemed too high to me because it wasn't exactly. It wasn't. It wasn't hitting me quite there.
Yeah.
It was hitting me near there. So I'm going to give it an 8, a solid 8 of a.
And that's still a great review.
Oh, mate, that's a rave review. And I actually do agree with Mr. Ebert's thing. Where he was saying it's the best film about organised crime.
And do you know why I agree with that statement? Because it tells it's not where The Godfather is very serious and slow and intricate. This is bang. This is the world. These are the entertaining characters, and look at all the crazy shit that goes on in this world. And he packages that in a entertaining, but. Not just entertaining way, whereas you can sit back and just go, oh, that's a really good film. Whereas for me, again, why I kind of regard it as a masterpiece because of the editing, the actual artistry of the filmmaking, and because of the performances of the cast and the accessibility it gives you. You know, it's not bogging you down with codes for this and respect and that, and you know all these intricate things that you can get from films like The Godfather and Godfather Part 2.
To be honest, I like The Godfather. I do like The Godfather, but I'd probably give The Godfather a similar rating to this. But I would have to say I'd probably, in a way, maybe even like this a little bit more. I know, like I'm making out like I didn't like it. I gave it
no, mate. I'm not at all. I'm not at all.
But
you're saying you enjoyed it, but you have not issues, but you've got a couple of criticisms of the film. But overall, you enjoy it, you appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
And you can't say fairer than that. So you gave it an 8, and I'm sticking to my guns here with. I've always seen this as an example of what cinema can be, and should be. Just from a pure movie making standpoint, in terms of actors acting and a director being on top of the game and editing and just the whole. Again, let's go. What, the Academy, they nominated it for fucking shitloads, didn't they? They didn't give it everything, but
didn't give it hardly anything.
Let's look back and say Dancing with Wolves or Goodfellas, and Goodfellas could have come away with a handful of things.
Retrospectively, Goodfellas should have won nearly all of those, and Dancing with Wolves should have been sacked off.
But maybe it was in Goodfellas.
But it is only upon reflection, in retrospection, do we know.
Look what lasted. And look what people are still talking about today.
I agree. So go on then. What's your?
I'm literally going to say it's 10 out of 10.
Oh, you will give something a
10 out of 10, yeah, because I do think it's for me an example of cinema.
Yeah, I get that. I absolutely do get that. It's cinematic. The 100%. Most cinematic.
Yeah,
cinematic
and again, it's films. A proper film where proper actors are acting, and it's nothing fancy. And it's purely.
It's not. I tell you what, gangster films like this can be a touch portentous and up themselves.
Very much.
I mean, The Godfather can be a little bit like pretentious. That. A bit pretentious. Yeah. Isn't pretentious.
This is we're going on a ride here, and we're just going to show you what happened to this guy's life, and there you go.
That's why it is a ride. I'm not being given a narrative.
100%. That is
taken on a ride.
Goodfellas. So let's summarise it. It's a ride of a film, and I agree with that.
It is a ride of a film.
So on that note, should we thank the listeners for joining us again?
No, fuck them. Yeah, no. Yes, of course we can.
Right, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope to see you again and join us soon, guys. Yes. So it's a goodbye from me.
And me. See you later.